Question. P.S. If A is smaller than B, which is smaller than 0, which of the following is not true? Solution. Cross cases, both negative and positive numbers. Be careful of A squared. Always be careful when dealing with negative numbers, including the cross multiplication cases, which are related differently to positive numbers and negative numbers. If we are given that A is greater than B, we cannot apply the rule A squared is greater than B squared, as we are not aware whether A and B are positive or negative. If we are given that A is greater than B, which is greater or equal to 0, or absolute value of A is greater than absolute value of B, then A squared is greater than B squared. If we are given that 0 is greater than or equal to A, which is greater than B, or absolute value of A is smaller than absolute value of B, then A squared is smaller than B squared. The first property of inequality. Multiplying or dividing by positive numbers does not change the direction of the inequality sign. Positive rule in inequality. That is, if A is greater than B, then A times X is greater than B times X, and A over X is greater than B over X, where X is greater than 0. We are required to find the option that is not true if A is smaller than B, which is smaller than 0. Option A. A plus B is smaller than 0. As B is smaller than 0, we get negative B is greater than 0 by multiplying with negative 1. Therefore, A is smaller than B, which is smaller than 0, which is smaller than negative B. This further tells us that A is smaller than negative B, or A plus B is smaller than 0 by the first fundamental concept in inequality. Thus, this option is true. Alternatively, A is smaller than B, which is smaller than 0, means that A and B are negative numbers, and the sum of two negative numbers is negative. Thus, A plus B is smaller than 0. Option B. A minus B is greater than 0. If we subtract B from both sides of A is smaller than B, we will get A minus B is smaller than B minus B, which equals 0, or A minus B is smaller than 0. Thus, this option is not true. Option C. 2 times A is smaller than 2 times B. When we multiply both sides of A is smaller than B by 2, the inequality does not change, and we get 2 times A is smaller than 2 times B by the first property of inequality, positive rule in inequality. Thus, this option is true. Option D. A squared is greater than B squared. As A is smaller than B, which is smaller than 0, when we square the terms, the inequality sign changes. Thus, we get A squared is greater than B squared. Thus, this option is true. E. A minus 2 is smaller than B minus 2. If we subtract 2 from both sides of A is smaller than B, we will get A minus 2 is smaller than B minus 2 by the second fundamental concept in inequality. Thus, this option is true. Thus, option B is not true, and hence B will be the correct answer. Answer B.